What's going on, guys? It's Ben from Pitch Black Forge once again. I'm walking the tracks near the house early this morning, and I figured I'd make a video about something that's going to happen to each of you if you stay out on the rails for very long, or if you're incredibly unlucky on your first trip, and that is getting caught. One particular thing that'll happen is you'll be out in the middle of nowhere, sticking your head out to get a nice view. Maybe you're one of those guys that rides on top of grainers, and some maintenance of way workers spot you. So it's a crew of guys doing track maintenance, and they're standing next to their high rail trucks watching the train go by. They see you, they call you in, and then when the authorities show up, they know precisely where you are to a degree that's kind of uncanny. Say you're on a unit grain train, so all the cars look pretty much the same. They're all, institutional gray, and it doesn't make sense at first that these guys could have figured out exactly which car you're on, because the guys standing trackside aren't reading the numbers on the cars as they're going by. But when the train stops, maybe outside of the next yard or at a random grade crossing, and you hear the familiar sound of footsteps on ballast walking directly up to your car and your car only, the explanation is quite simple. These maintenance of way workers count the cars as they're going by, if they're doing their job well, and they're not looking for you. What they're looking for is a flat spot on a wheel, thump, 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 hot brakes, anything else that would cause the car to get a bad order tag, which means that it needs to be set out and have some maintenance work done on that car in particular. When I was a kid, my dad did maintenance away for CSX. It's actually before the merger with Chetsey, so it's Seaboard System, Seaboard Coastline, SCL, LNN, and we would count the cars as they went by at grade crossings. And for me, it was just a fun game. We would guess how long the train was going to be. Sometimes we'd make bets, him and my sister and I. And but what he was really doing was looking for anything that was wrong with that train. So they're going to count all the cars as they go by, and they see, say car 57 has some guy sticking his head out. They call you in, and then they relay that information to the railroad, the rail cops, local sheriff's deputies, whoever, and they come pick you off without really having to look at all. So that explains that. So the train's going to slow down. You've been spotted. Train starts slowing down. It's your task now to roll up your kit and try to get off the train, hopefully on the fly, with the plan of getting back on it once it starts moving again. So if you roll up your stuff, you look out and you don't see a sheriff's deputy on either side of the tracks, which is definitely a sight that I've been greeted with before, or more unluckily, that combined with someone standing on top of a railroad overpass with a set of binoculars or a rangefinder. That's also happened to me. And you roll your stuff up, get off the train, maybe hide in the bushes if that's feasible. If you're in a halfway urban area, ditch your pack, try to blend in, maybe change your shirt. Or maybe you can just get off of your car, get onto a different car. Because if the train's really long, you get off of it while it's going, halfway decent speed, get off safely, change cars, hunker down, find a good spot to hide. The chances of them scanning the entire train, especially if it's a junk train, general manifest, is pretty fucking low. They're not going to expend all that effort, generally. So there you go. Another reason to watch when you're watching out for workers or even just regular people who might turn you in. I know it's tempting to just wave at somebody sitting on their porch. I've definitely done that before, but there's always a chance people are going to call you in. So wear neutral colors, be ready to hide. I used to carry a separate set of clothing that didn't look like what I normally wear. You may have noticed I pretty much just wear black and earth tones and have forever. But I would carry, a set of blue jeans and a clean shirt, mostly for blending in for this kind of situation, or just to be clean for hitchhiking. the idea of blending in socially for me now doesn't really work all that well, because I don't generally land in a place where it's all middle-aged dudes covered in tattoos. So I look singular, easy to spot me in a crowd, so it goes. But yeah, be ready to hide. Once again, if you're out here with a red backpack and a blue shirt, it's kind of foolish. I don't particularly understand how people could take up a hobby or a lifestyle that involves a lot of cat and mouse, a lot of hide and seek, and then choose to not wear clothing that lets them blend in both in the woods and amongst other people. There you go. How you get caught. One of the ways. It's going to happen to you eventually. And here's a friendly reminder for those of you who forget that this is a criminal activity. If you're riding freight trains, if you're trespassing on railroad property in general, like I'm doing right now, technically, but definitely if you're going into yards and taking up the life of a stowaway, you are now a criminal. So you're one of us, whether you like it or not, and you don't get to complain anymore about other people committing petty, victimless crimes. So welcome to that fraternity. You don't get to have a holier-than-thou attitude anymore about people camping in the woods or minor shoplifting offenses or eating out of dumpsters, because you're now one of those people, whether you have a white-collar job, a master's degree, any of that. Welcome. Go take care of yourselves and each other.